take it from the installation of the plugin all the way to presenting or looking at how to place an order through the MT4 platform. So it should be a pretty interesting webinar. It should go fast. So if you have any questions during the session, please feel free to ask questions to my staff, and then afterwards, if there's time, I will be open for additional questions. So what we're looking at right now is the our screen here, which is the general MT4 platform screen. But before we get there, I thought I'd let you know that when we are working with the MT4 plugin, that you have to have a platform from one of our broker partners. So when you go to AutoTargets.com, if you are either looking at the demo or if you're going to be considering the service for yourself or using it through a broker, you can see that we have listed here the icons of several of the brokers that we have current relationships with. So by clicking on one of these brokers or by using the MT4 access that your broker allows you, you'll have the platform already, and then it's just a matter of getting the MT4 platform, plugin. So when you go to our website, you'll see that we have this section here, MetaTrader 4 plugin. If you click that on, it'll take you to a page that's going to show how to download this. And basically what you're looking at here is very simple download. It can be delivered to your platform, to your computer via the plugin in about 30 seconds, and it's very easy to install. And the plugin is going to contain chart patterns, Fibonacci patterns, and power stats, as well as Autochartist key level patterns, and access to the Autochartist web platform also. And the other benefit is you can easily launch this program also using the web-based version of Autochartist from within MT4, and you don't have to keep signing on and off like some vendors have, where you can they give you a lot, but you're always signing on and off to get this material. This can all be done seamlessly and in one step. So you're going to, it's a very easy process. You're going to be pretty excited about it if you sign on for either the trial or if you decide to purchase the plugin itself or from your broker. Now, once you look at this platform, you can see that you're going to get a signal sent to your computer once you click on this link, and it's going to allow you to install this program. It's going to ask a series of questions that you should answer so that it begins the process. And by doing this, it'll automatically install the plugin into the MT4 Expert Advisors section. So you really don't have to be a pro at using the MT4 platform, because many of the steps are just done by themselves and automatically. Okay, so you have very few questions to answer. Now, once the plugin is activated and executed, it puts into the custom indicator section here in this navigator box that I'm pointing at, it lists the Autochartist chart patterns, Fibonacci patterns, key level patterns, power stats, and Autochartist web. So you can see that it's very quick, very easy steps. So I already had it installed here, and I didn't want to overwrite it. But it's like I said, it's automatic, and it works very fast. Now, let me take you back a couple of steps. Right now, inside my program, what I'm doing here is I'm deleting the information that I put in prior to the session. And I'll show you the steps of getting the program into the plugin into the charts. So for example, we have the screen here on the this market here is the US dollar Japanese yen. You can see that it's a standard candlestick chart. Now if I click on the Autochartist chart pattern custom indicator here and I drag it into the chart, it's going to give me some choices. It's going to tell me that I'm going to have all time frames to pick. All these other factors are all defaulted, so to make it a seamless integration of the plugin. So when I click on OK, you can see that up here we're pointing. It's going to tell you it's authenticating the program, and it's going to tell you it's connecting, and it's going to tell you that it's waiting for data. And as it's doing that, you can see how fast that was. It's given me access to this Autochartist information here, as well as a particular chart pattern, which is a channel up here, and it's giving me the target box here, this gray box. So if you're familiar with the old screen of the web platform, which is set up like this that I'm pointing to right now, you'll see that it's the same chart pattern, the same information, except in a live and MT4 format. So get an example, if you see on this screen on the web platform, US dollar Japanese yen as a completed pattern. If I blow this up, you'll see that it's broken through the support line and it's given me a target box, okay, for the forecasted price. But there's only about 3 bars worth of information since the breakout because it's on a different time delay than, say, MT4, which we're looking at right now. And you can see that there's more information available after that breakdown through this support line, and also gives you a bigger target zone. So you can see that this MT4 is showing you live data on this 60-minute channel up chart pattern, and you can see that the market is slowly progressing towards our forecast zone down here. So there's a big advantage to using the plugin on MT4 with these chart patterns. The chart patterns are going to be the same as the web-based program, except you're working with live data that is going to keep you on top of the situation in case these markets reverse or they may move faster than you expect. So you'd want to be able to stay right on it, right on some active data. Get the same information in our box up here where you get the pattern recognized, the number of candlesticks used to create the pattern, as well as the direction and the trend change, which in this case is continuation. And then you get your quality ratings in here. So this is a 5-bar rating on this breakout. And it also tells you that we're looking for 81.85 to 82.15, and here's our target zone. Okay, now another pattern we could use, and here's in the Euro Australian dollar. If you wanted to, we can grab and highlight this Autochartist Fibonacci pattern, and we can slip that into our charts, and we'll see if there's a pattern coming up here. And just take a few minutes while it's populating the data and studying the data. And then once we get that data in there, we'll be able to see if we have a pattern or not. Okay, the reason why I'm going in real time is that showing you that if you went into this pattern and in this chart of this Forex market and you didn't know whether you had a pattern or not, you'd have to wait like I'm doing now. But another way to look at it is to go to your web-based platform and to select the completed or emerging patterns for the Fibonacci pattern. And it looks like, because of the recent price action here, that we don't have any completed Fibonacci patterns at this time. And that's not the program's fault. It's actually the result of the way the markets have been trading. They've been trending, and Fibonacci patterns tend to be patterns that try to pick up changes in trend, changes in direction, and retracements. But here you can see that we have a pattern in the center of this chart. And I'll slide it over here, see where it is. And it is a butterfly pattern that has been identified. Let me get my screen all set up here. Here we go. We have this ABCD pattern here, okay? And it also shows that once this pattern is completed, like in this case, it shows these blue lines here, which represent retracement zones. You can see that this data comes up automatically. Now, once I have put this plug-in into the program, I don't have to drop and drag it in again. It's going to be there every time I use this particular chart. So that's the beauty of it, is it doesn't involve me coming in every day and resetting parameters. Once it's here, it's going to continue to work. So in this case, you'd want to learn how these Fibonacci patterns work, so then when you get a signal and you're able to look at it, you're able to identify right away what it is and what's happening in the marketplace. The beauty of Autochartist is that it is going to give you opportunities, plenty of opportunities, and it's up to you to know ahead of time, or as they're developing, what they mean and what the indicators and how these markets perform, through our statistical data, so that all the crunch time is taken care of by the program. It's making it easy for you to just trade the market and react to the opportunities that Autochartist comes up. So you don't have to sit here and create these lines. You can always take a particular indicator, for example, if you wanted to, for example, a moving average or a channel. Let's take a look at all these different indicators you can choose from: Fibonacci shapes, channels, lines, indicators. So you can always take one of these indicators. For example, let's look at an oscillator here, like a popular oscillator is relative strength. We can select relative strength, and you can see that in the bottom part of this chart, you can have the relative strength used along with the Autochartist pattern. So there are a lot of opportunities that you can use in conjunction with all of the other MT4 indicators. So it's a very compatible program. Now, if I wanted, what I wanted to show you here was that it is possible, now that we've put the Fibonacci pattern on here, it is possible to also drop and drag a chart pattern on top of the Fibonacci, and to see if these two, you could see that they do work in conjunction. So not only will you get an opportunity to look at a chart pattern, but you'll also get the opportunity to work with Fibonacci and chart pattern at the same time. And that may enhance your trading experience. Again, because the chart pattern is more of a focus on pattern, of course, in a definition of chart pattern. So you have more of a focus on patterns, but then with Fibonacci's, you tend to get more of a focus on price action. So the combination of the pattern and the price that you get from these two powerful tools may give you better opportunities, or identify better and safer trades than, say, if you were using one by itself. So I think it's very critical that you have the ability to work with either Fibonacci or chart patterns alone or together. Now, one of my favorite indicators, what I'll do is I'm going to remove these. So like I said, if you can leave them on there and it's working all the time, or you can remove them. What I'm going to do is show you one of my favorite indicators. Now, here's the US dollar, the Japanese yen I pointed out earlier. Okay, this is on the 60-minute chart. This is live data, so we've broken through the support line of this chart pattern, and now we're headed lower. What I like to do is I like to slide in the key levels indicator, and I wait for that to populate also. And I want to see if the market has a key level that I should be using in conjunction with this chart pattern. Well, sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't. So in this case, I don't see one coming in at this time. But for example, if I saw this forecast box down here appear, then what I would do is I would be looking for the support line key level to appear. And it would be nice if we had a little bit of an overlap, because then I would get two targets. I would get the forecast zone as well as the key level support together, and that would act almost as if it was like a support cluster. So I would expect the market to kind of be drawn down into that level. The other way I look at it is when I use key level combinations with chart patterns is sometimes I'll get a bearish chart pattern, which I'm getting right now, but as I apply the key levels, I'll get a point somewhere up here that'll be a natural stop point. So I'll let the market dictate. But again, those are rare combinations, and when they do come up, that it's important that you act upon that information. So again, to repeat, when I'm using key levels in my MT4 program, I'll show you based on what I have here. Let's see here. When I go to my indicators, when I have my pattern on here along with key levels, I'm looking for either both to confirm a target zone, or I'm looking for the forecast zone to exist by itself, and I'm looking for another key level to form an area above the market that could be a safe place to place my stop. So that's a very important thing to use. Now, the other thing is that after you identify these conditions and that you want to trade, you also have the ability to move to your order ticket and place your order almost instantly. So if you are watching the live data and you see, for example, if you're watching this data on your regular platform and you have it set to emerging patterns, again, you should know the difference between emerging and completed. Emerging means that it's still inside of these lines, okay? Hasn't broken out yet. So if you get a series of emerging patterns, you may want to watch those markets. First of all, you want to see the emerging pattern on this platform, and then you want to go and you'll see that this is a US dollar Japanese yen on the 240-minute. So what I try to do is I go to my MT4 on the 240-minute, and you can see the same pattern developing here. Okay. Now, why I do it this way is because on this platform here, I'm going to get a list. All right. It's going to give me a list of opportunities, both emerging and completed. So then I can go through this list, and then I can select which market I want to watch on the MT4 platform. Okay, so I'm selecting this Japanese yen descending triangle that's emerging. All right, now as this trade develops, I have the choice to short it here and use my resistance line as my stop point, or I have the opportunity to perhaps take my MT4, other MT4 indicators, and maybe put a retracement zone between this low and this high. But all this action is going to take place as long as we're inside our AutoChartist support and resistance. Now, as we begin to approach one of these lines, either resistance or support, then we have the opportunity to try to look for a breakout. Okay? Now, as this market begins to approach these points, you may want to get your order ticket ready so that you can have an instant execution on these breakouts, so that you don't miss a big part of the move by waiting for the market to break out. So there's two ways to approach it. Okay, if you have an emerging pattern, as soon as AutoChartist recognizes it and you hear the alert go off, you want to be able to look at the market, see if you have an exit identified, and then execute the order as fast as possible. Okay? Now, if you are a breakout trader or momentum trader, then you may want to wait for the market to get close to a resistance breakout or a support breakout, and then you can go to the order ticket and you can have your instant execution. So it's pretty seamless and pretty good way to look at it. Now, when I switch back to the platform, let me put this, move this chart over. When I switch back to this platform, I like to trade triangles. Okay, here's a 60-minute on the US dollar Swiss. So when I click this on my platform, I'll see this triangle formation. Okay, and the reason why I like to look at the triangle formations first on these platforms is because I like to trade non-trending patterns. Okay, and that's what we're looking at right now. So I'm waiting for to blow this chart up. So it should come up here in a second. What I like to do is I like to have these triangle patterns because they're non-trending, and what that means is that the market is being compressed into a very, very tight range. I'm not going to wait for this. And when I get a market in a very tight range, like the US dollar Swiss, and I will be looking for that chart here in a second. When I get it in a tight range, that means that something is going to happen. It's telling me, I don't know when it's going to happen, and I'm pretty confident I know where it's going to happen, but I'm not sure the direction. And so part of the reason why I like to look at triangles is that the tighter they compress this market, then the more likely I'm going to get a breakout. So here's my US dollar Swiss chart, and I'm going to go to 1 hour, and I'm going to look at my chart pattern here, and should see a triangle chart pattern come up. And there it goes. So now I'm looking at this pattern down here, and I'm starting to see this triangle form. Okay, and you can see that when a triangle chart pattern starts, everything's wide. There's this big mouth here, and then as it starts to go sideways and compress like this, that's all pent-up volatility. Traders don't like to see the market stay in an area for a long time. It makes them nervous. They want to see new price discovery. They want the market to test a little bit on the downside to see who's there. They want to test a little bit on the upside to see who's there. Traders and investors, especially the big institutions, it's a big game of hide and seek. Okay. Now, granted, when the news gets difficult to follow, they're not going to know which way to go, just like a small trader like you or I. So they're just as confused. And so when they see this sideways action, they're going to stand aside and not participate until they get some clarity. So a good pattern to use for clarity is this triangle breakout. All right. Now, when you see it in an emerging pattern, it gives you time to study it and look at it and say, where is that breakout going to take place? So then when you place your order, or get ready to place your order, you should already know the prices that you're going to be breaking out on. Okay? So the emerging patterns on the web platform give you a list of what to expect or what to watch. And if you find something you like, then you want to look at it on the MT4 platform and to make it actionable, to give you an opportunity to get in. Because ultimately what's happening in these markets, and I've been doing this for 30 years, is that the chart patterns remain the same over the last 100 years. Gann, Fibonacci, all these patterns. Speed is the only thing that's changed. So the faster you can recognize a pattern, and the faster you can recognize that it's executable, and the faster you can get that order in, the more edge you'll have on the other traders. Okay? Now, AutoChartist takes care of the speed of finding these patterns. You don't have to sit there and look for hundreds of patterns yourself. AutoChartist will do that for you. Then it's up to you to get the steps down on how to transfer your knowledge of this chart pattern into an actionable signal. Because ultimately, if you're in on a move first, then by the time the other traders who have slower programs catch on, they're going to jump in and push your position higher or lower, and they're going to help you make some money possibly in the market if you are in there before they are. It's no different than what you're trying to do to an institutional trader. If you know there's an institutional trader coming in underneath you, if you can get in front of them, then use him to ride the market higher. All right, and at the same time, the slower traders, or the traders who don't have this powerful program, they're going to be getting in late. Okay, and I've seen it happen. I've worked with AutoChartist next to other charting platforms, and people don't have a lot of this automation. They can see a market, and then they can try to draw these patterns as they're taking place. But AutoChartist automatically draws it. So all you have to do is put in a little bit of time to understand the characteristics of the pattern, and then just take action. So I think that's important to know the type of edge that you're getting over other traders. All right, now I'll just recap everything so that we can go through a Q&A session here. First thing you want to do is go to AutoChartist.com. Okay, you want to take a look at the brokers that AutoChartist uses to see if your broker is on here on any of these icons. Okay, and if they are, you got to ask them if they're offering access to MT4, which they probably are. And if they do, then you want to go to this MT4 plugin section, and you want to install the plugin. Okay, you want to install the plugin by clicking on your MT4 platform, your MT4 plugin icon. So once you get the instructions, and it automatically starts running and asks you some questions, once it starts running, you have very little to do, because like I said, it probably installs in about 30 seconds. Okay, now I'll show you an example of after you, let's look at Euro Australian dollar, for example. Okay, you can see here that if I wanted to, I get a blank platform here, a blank screen, a blank canvas, so to speak. I can drop and drag and drop this chart pattern indicator right into the screen, and it's going to populate it, and if there's a signal, it's going to show up. So everything that I do is going to be a drop and drag situation. Drag and drop, as they say. I have an opportunity to do Fibonacci patterns. I have an opportunity to do key level patterns. All right, I can even look at power stats. I didn't show you that one. If I put this on here, power stats are going to show up as horizontal lines and they're going to give me price targets. All right. Now, if you want to, you can look at the MT4 platform exclusively, or you can go to Autochartist, the charting program itself, the web-based program. And let me clear it out. And you're going to get a screen that we normally look at here. Okay. And on here, you have the opportunity to pick completed chart patterns or emerging, Fibonacci, or breakouts, and key levels. So here, you're going to get a population of opportunities, and you can select which one you're looking at. Australian dollar just came up on the 240-minute. Okay, this little breakout here. Okay, so when you have all these opportunities listed, now you can go back to MT4 and you can say, okay, Australian dollar, US dollar is beginning to break out to the upside. All right, you can go to your chart here, drag it on. It's a 240-minute chart. You want to look at the chart pattern, and that's going to be dragged in here. And I'll drag that in here now. And we're connecting, and it's authenticating. And there you go. There's your breakout. And now you got live data on that breakout. Okay? So you have two choices. Either watch Australian dollar all day and wait for the breakout to appear, or go to the platform, wait for a list to appear, and then pick out which ones you want. Okay, so there's an opportunity on how it's working live. All right. Then remember that if you want to use other indicators, you can slide in the key levels, and you want to see the key levels, whether it enhances the target, whether it gives you, if the resistance is the key level, then that's going to help you decide where to exit if you're long. If you have support as the key level, that's going to help you place a stop for protection. Then you also have Fibonacci points, which are going to show you the possible targets and also counter trend moves. Okay? And then finally, you can go to Power Stats, put that on here, and it's going to tell you, based on historical volatility studies, what to expect. All right, over the next, here's an example, over the next 240 minutes, it shows you what kind of exposure you have to the downside based on historical movement. Okay, so this should, as we develop over time, this indicator, this line should move up. If the market moves up, this should move up, and that's going to act as your trailing stop. So all this information is available right here, one simple plugin that takes 30 seconds. So that's about it right now. So what I'm going to do is answer questions. I go unscripted, so if I repeated, that's my style, because I'm conditioned to learn these markets through repetition and doing things over and over. So if I missed a few points, or if I wasn't clear, then let's discuss that here in these questions. So let me get my chart screen set up, and let me see if I can get some of these questions in here. All right, hang on. Just trying to blow up the screen here for myself. I don't think you can see it. All right. And the question is, why, hi, it says, why do the chart patterns on my MT look so different? I am using active trades as a broker. This is the correct link. Well, that's a technical question. I think what happens is Number one, each broker has a, I just want to say this because I'm not a technical guy, I don't build the programs. I think everybody's got something unique. Every brokerage firm has something unique, and maybe they are fixing or adjusting that data to fit the platform that they have. Okay, I'm using a generic screen today because I'm not showing, excuse me, favor to any brokerage firm. So my screen is going to show a generic screen. So you may want to find out from your broker if he's done something to his screen or some kind of enhancement that may be not working right with what you're trying to look at. The other thing is, and I get this a lot, is that markets appeal to the senses, okay? Other than smell, your sight and your sounds, traders are accustomed to that. Guys in the pits today, you know, they're not in the pits today, but guys I know traded there for 20 years are having trouble trading upstairs because they're used to the sound of a buying spree or a sell-off, okay? When you're doing things on the screens, it's very visual. I'm a very visual person. I draw charts by hand. I learn that way. So when you're working with these screens, sometimes my charts may look different than your charts. I prefer to have a white screen. I prefer to have red and green candlesticks. But again, I kept it generic today. I changed the colors and I changed the weightings. I like to work with bar charts too, and to make it fit what I'm looking at. It is possible that we have the same chart patterns that you have, and I think what happens is maybe you don't have your screen set up. Now I can tell you this from doing a lot of webinars and working with traders individually, that you'd be surprised how many people just flip on a screen and take all the defaults that come with it. They don't make any adjustments to color, size, depth, anything like that. You have to take it to a level that you make these screens fit what you want to see and what you're comfortable with, and then AutoChartist just does the automation. Okay, so we really don't have too much to do with how a feed gets picked up. Let's see what this question is here. Trying to find a question. Do you foresee ever having a plugin for eSignal? That's a question for management, but thanks for asking that. Sure. All right. And here's a question. Let's see. But the patterns displayed are quite different. You have an ascending triangle, and I get an inverse head and shoulders. Well, what could be happening is that you may be on a delay, because I don't know. It's, to me, AutoChartist isn't going. The signal goes out, and it's not going to tell one broker that's an inverse head and shoulders, and that one's a triangle or something. They're always going to be the same pattern, but it just may be that there's some kind of a different feed that the broker gets. All right, I'm not going to say anything about, you know, feeds and things like that, but you have to remember, I don't know how many people are experienced in this, how experienced you are, but when you're dealing with an exchange-traded product, there's only one feed. That's the price. Gold is traded in the CME, or if you get a soybean price, it's traded at the CME. And that's the only feed that you're getting, and then it's getting disseminated to all the brokers. The Forex market does not have a physical building. It exists in the form of thousands of electronic platforms, okay? Sometimes brokers make their own markets, all right? That shouldn't be that far off from what the market is, because if it was, then someone would be making a killing in it, like an arbitrage situation. So you're going to have to look at and do some tests and look at the speed of the signal you're getting and whether you have it on delay and how you can fix it. Because if you're not doing well, here's what I want to say is if you're doing well and you're on delay, then stay that way. Don't fix it. But if you're not doing well and you find out it's on delay, then obviously find out, how to get up to speed on real time. That's the first thing you want to be able to do. Because if AutoTargets is picking up signals that you're getting 10 minutes after the fact, then you'll always be chasing the market, and that's not going to work out. So definitely talk to your broker and find out what kind of feeds, what kind of delays. Do tests on ping tests and tests on your service to make sure if you're using cable provider or antenna, how fast your data is going out and how fast it's coming in. Okay, that's critical too. The other thing is you may want to look at where your server is coming from. These brokers now give you a choice to find a server that's as close as possible to cut down the rate of the time on an order. So you want to look at all those things. See if we have any more questions, because I got about 4 minutes. Why can't I get the plugin? All right, now we do have, I forgot to mention that, there is an MT4 plugin in its version 16, okay? There's also an MT5 and a J4X plugin, okay? But the MT4 is by far the most popular, okay? So just so you know, that you'd have to contact AutoChartist to see if you how you can get the MT5 platform. Okay, it may be that it's just not being used enough, so it may be that you have to ask. All right, strange, it says, this happens now with the chart you have up on the screen, AUD, USD, and the charts are the same. Sir, without seeing your screen, it's very difficult for me because I have a monster computer I'm working off too, and it's fast. So you'd have to take it a little step further and find out from your broker what kind of feed you're looking at. That would be the easiest thing to do. And if we got on the same page that way, then we can compare notes. All right, can I set indicator to draw a selected pattern? For example, triangle or double top. Well, I'll tell you what. In the regular web platform, the web version of it, you can go to your search, and you can go down to chart patterns, and you can deselect all of them, and then you can pick triangle, like this, like I'm doing now. And you're going to get only triangle patterns. And then once you see them on here, then what I would do is, until you have the opportunity to select what comes up on MT4 or search for it, and if I don't get any triangles on here, then I wouldn't be looking at any markets, obviously. But when I started to get triangles, this would alert me that I should start paying attention to those markets on MT4. That's the best thing to do right now. That's the thing that I would do. And same with double top. All right? That's a pretty easy question. It's good to hear the King's English, Chicago. Yeah, I think I threw a few of those dems and does out there. I try not to. Okay. Here's one. In my case, I get a head and shoulders. It is emerging. You have an ascending triangle completed. That looks like you are on delay. All right. I'm not going to, like I said, that's we're just in a webinar here. We're not trading live, so I don't have the time to compare, what we're looking at. All right. We're going. It said contact AutoChartist support. Which pattern? Let's see here. This is from Monica. Which pattern more successful with the length? Well, if you, this is from a previous webinar, if you go to the performance stats, here, I hope you can see that on the screen, and you go to Forex and chart patterns, you can come down and look at our statistics. Okay, you have it by symbol, you have it by pattern, and if you wanted to, there's hour of the day. You know, there's interesting things like, for example, hour of the day. It's fairly clear that the earlier part of the day, you can see all this green where you have these high amounts of accuracy for hitting the targets, and then towards the middle of the day when you can maybe get one session or Europe's closed and the U.S. is open by itself, kind of get this mush time where no one's trading and the moves aren't that great, and then it picks up again near the close. But your question is length, and I'll see, we looked at all the quality indicators: breakout, quality, clarity, uniformity, initial trend, interval, and direction. And I'd have to say that because of the fact that you can get anywhere from 1 to maybe 500 time periods or candlesticks that form a pattern, that there's just too many variables to look at and to come to a conclusion. Okay? Now, my experience is that if the longer a market will sit in a pattern, the more eyes are on that pattern. Okay, so the more eyes that are on that pattern, when there is a breakout, it's going to alert a lot of people. When you get a market that's sitting in a range or in a triangle for 100, 200 days, or 100, maybe 150, 240 minute time periods, you get that kind of congestion. When there is a move, somebody's going to notice it. So I would say that the longer a market stays in a pattern, it's probably better. As a GAN trader also, I like to say the height of the market's determined by the length of the base. So if I have a big base forming, then I try to project that my base should be, the rise in the market should equal my base. So I want to have a base formed. This type of pattern is 69 candlesticks. Should come up here in a second. Apologize for knocking that out. And again, the ones I like are the ones that show compression. Okay, I like the rotation of these markets from wide volatility to compressed, from exciting to complacent. You know, that's the way I look at it. Here's a euro dollar head and shoulders today. All right, so I like to see this kind of stuff here, but mostly triangles where things get compressed. Can you please inform how to check if my broker provides MT4 access? Well, I think the easiest way to do it is to go to the Autochartist.com and your broker should be listed there. And then it's just a matter of clicking on that icon or just asking them. You should have a good relationship with your broker. These markets are pretty tight right now and pretty scarce. You know, there's not a lot of movement going on, so I would think that I'd want to make friends with my broker right now because it's a slow market. So call them up and see how they can do it for you. You know, what they can do for you. All right, let's look at another question. We have a few minutes here. Just a couple more minutes. Okay, and thank you, Monica, for that question. All right, that's about it. So I think this is the last webinar for the for this year. So I wish everybody a Happy New Year. Be safe. Keep your powder dry. If you don't understand the market, wait for the best moves. Do a check on your trading this year too. Review it. Look at your mistakes. See what you can fix. Make sure you have a good frame of mind and a clear head. I think these markets are 90% mental, 10% mechanical sometimes. So always want to make sure that you're in a position to take advantage of them. You have a clear head. And again, do the review and create a checklist, and should be able to do well. These markets should get moving again. We've got plenty of news coming out of the U.S. within the next 2 weeks with this fiscal cliff. And we also, that could carry all the way into February when we have our debt ceiling. So markets could get fairly active here. And remember to take advantage of these patterns when they come up and use all the tools, ask questions, contact support, use email, and everything should work out for you. Okay, thank you very much.